So for today, I am going to replay through Marianne's route. If you have not seen any of this yet, please check out my YouTube channel and watch Isabella, Zachary, and Hannah's route Bad Endings A for context, and then also Marianne's Bad Ending A. Because if you haven't already, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to fast forward until we get to where I'm going to make a different choice. So if you haven't seen this yet, please go watch those first. So here we go! And we're going to not sleep with Luke. Yeah, we're going to be responsible and not sleep with Luke. Alright, what's it going to be, Marianne? To sex or not to sex? Well, let's see. Yeah. Saying this is wrong gives you... Yeah, it gives you plus with Luke, and then nothing, never mind is... Yeah, where you just go ahead and cheat. But you also get, yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and say this is wrong.
We're both drunk.
And then we're gonna fast forward, because I made that choice last time. Right. Be responsible. Oh, here we go. That's right. Do we want to be nice to... I think we want to be nice to, Isabella. But I can't remember which one it was. I think it's... You have something to say? Yes. Okay, so I believe we made this choice last time, so I'm going to fast forward. Oh, that's right. Last time we checked it out, right? We got the creepy, the radio, right? Do you remember that? Okay. Yeah, the right where she died. So when you go ahead and inspect the noise, you get something creepy in creepy radio. And then, yeah, and then if you continue waiting, yeah, you get the bloody TV. So we're gonna go ahead and wait because I don't think I saved the bloody TV. So we're gonna go ahead and continue waiting. I have no business with it, and what she's referring to is there was a crash in the hallway, and in the previous Marianne route we went and inspected it, and some creepy shit happened in a bedroom. But we're not doing that this time. Yeah, right? These rich people usually value their privacy above all else, after all. Unless, of course, they're posting pictures on social media, bragging about what good people they are for allowing themselves to be interviewed for some magazine. Then again, the whole reason I'm in this mess is because I don't give two shits about what goes on with people like them. And I'm not going to get caught snooping about and be accused of some imagined wrongdoing. I'm not going to be some busybody, detective wannabe, and run off to investigate whatever that was. It's probably just something mundane anyway, like a lamp falling over. I'm just going to sit here and wait for Mrs. Wright. With my tea. In complete silence.
Could I at least put the telly on?
I don't really expect him to answer. If he hadn't heard the crash, I doubt he would have heard...
As long as you don't watch some silly soap opera. The LBC News would be fine. The William Walker Show is on too if you prefer that. Not that I watch it, but my husband does. The remote is under the coffee table.
Oh, sure. Maybe I'll be lucky and catch the doc on. I heard they're having reruns of the classics and I want to see the second meet sixth in Spain. If not, just the news then. Thank you. I'll let you get on with your cooking now.
Did he just ignore the crash a while ago? I don't think he heard it, Marianne. Whatever. Fetching the remote, I turn the TV on in hopes of filling the silence. Trying to, anyway, because the thing won't turn on. And doesn't that make the silence more awkward, or what? I know I might not be the best with tech, but I'm sure I can work a simple television remote.
The batteries must be dead.
Oh, that's lovely! What? What was your first clue? I mean, there's nothing wrong with, some creepy lady standing next to me with "help me" in the background. There is blood everywhere. "Help me," it says in red. I look at my own hands and find them clean. Yet I can see my grisly reflection gaping back at me. And though there is nothing staining my skin, I can feel the sticky and warm feeling of blood dripping down my cheeks. I should be worried. Instead, I feel my attention drawn towards her. Her beautiful blonde hair, her soft lips with skin so fair, and swaying hips. I want nothing more than to hold her, plant my lips on her neck, and to run my fingers through her hair. She laughs, and she smiles when she looks at me, but where are her eyes? Temptation is gone in an instant, and I recoil, horrified at this reflection I am seeing, only to back into something, or rather, someone. Mrs. Wright stands there, twirling a lock of her blonde hair, and a soft smile on her lips and a hand on her hip. I almost back away, but I ground and remind myself that this is my client. And whatever I just saw, well, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that perhaps I'm a bit daft. It would be preferable, of course, to think it was all the trick of the light, or the makings of an overactive imagination.
Good morning, Mrs. Wright. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Have you been standing there long?
No, I just came down and saw you were having a hard time with the telly. We must have forgotten to change the batteries. Are you all right, dear? You're looking a bit pale. Haven't you had breakfast yet?
No, I'm fine. I had breakfast already, Mrs. Wright. I just need...
Well then, you mustn't have had enough breakfast. I'm all for a good diet, but that's the most important meal of the day. Johans is cooking up pancakes. Pancakes will make anyone feel better, he always says. We can sit down and tuck in. You'll feel right as rain once we get some fluffy, syrupy goodness in you. And are you sure you're fine, Marianne? You're shaking.
Looking down at my hands, I can see them trembling. Really? Just because she looks so much like her, I'm becoming a damn train wreck. I've been seeing her in my dreams and hearing her voice ever since I met Mrs. Wright at the mansion. With so many blondes in the world, what was different with her? What was different this time? That's a great question. Right? Come on, Marianne, have more class.
God, there's literally a TikTok that, it's like the person's talking and there's a weird noise in the background and there's a thought going, I'm way too horny to be talking to this woman right now.
Oh no! Alright, so we have I'm not feeling too well and I just remembered something. Let's try I'm not feeling too well. Oh shit, okay, that is the wrong answer. Let's go back. So Hannah, so I'm not feeling too well is minus points with Hannah. And I just remembered something.
I just remembered something, that's all. It's nothing to worry about.
Is bone. Oh wow, look at how huge that jumped. Because when I said I'm not feeling too well, it was like really low. So dang, okay.
Are you sure? I am all ears if there is something bothering you. I don't mind a good story, and I don't want it to affect your work performance.
Yes.
Gossipy wagon, isn't she? She should just leave you alone. It's not like you need her.
You don't have to worry about that, Mrs. Wright. I say business stays business, and anything else can stay in the doghouse until I'm done with work.
I just have to bear through it, don't I? If not, I tell her that I'm hearing voices. That it'd be a fast track straight to the nut house. Whoops, that is not what I want to do. What else can I do? Saint Dimpna help me lest I become like her father Damon, insane at the thought of lost love and mad in the pursuit of another.
Shall we talk about your work then?
If you'd like. It's on your time, after all.
I've been told many good things about you, and I've seen some of your work before. Others speak very highly of your work etiquette. Yet I've never heard of you before, not even a whisper of the McCullough name.
Well, I've only been in Luxbourne for 4 years. Tried to make it big in London for nearly 3 years before, and I've only been working these high-quality projects for the past year.
I stick straight to the point. It's best to be brief when talking to clients, after all. Keep it clean-cut as much as possible. Yet at the same time, I have to make it engaging so it doesn't look like I don't want to talk to them.
I imagine it hasn't been easy. I can't see why you've moved from London to Luxbourne, though.
Job vacancies were fewer at the time, and I had a lot of competition in London. Let's not even talk about the living costs there. But I'm glad I moved here, even if it hadn't been smooth sailing. If I had it easy, I probably wouldn't be working projects like these.
Why even bother explaining to her? She won't understand. She's practically born with a silver spoon in her mouth. The woman could probably snap her fingers and have servants attending to her beck and call.
She does look the part of a spoiled heiress, doesn't she? It would be a relief if she's just that. Something that's different from Mrs. Wright and her. Before she can get in another word, words that may have proven me wrong or right, she looks up at the loft with a fond expression on her face. With just a simple glance, she can put in so much love that I feel a tad bit jealous of whoever holds it.
Good morning, Luke, darling.
Good morning, ladies. What a wonderful morning it is, that I wake up to such a beautiful sight.
Oh, it's Luke, right?
I do hope you two are getting along. I smell pancakes. I do hope you two are considering a diet just so I can have them all to myself.
Don't be a pig, Luke. You eat all of those and you might stop fitting into your tight suits.
What? I'm not a pig. You don't think I'm a pig, do you, Marianne?
With his saucy smile and playful wink, I can't help but think you are a bit of a pig, Whiskey.
I don't know, Mr. Wright. I'm an interior designer, not a zoologist.
Ooh, burn!
The only
Take that,
sows
Luke.
she must be familiar with are statement of works.
Well, don't be a bore. You two might not be in a rush, but I'm going to go ahead and feast.
If you dawdle too long, he'll hog all the syrup.
Rich people are so eccentric.
Come on then, we can discuss business over food.
There is no denying the clients when they invite me over to the table. Though it is too personal to share a meal in their home, it would be terribly rude to deny their invitation. Oh my god, why does food look so delicious? Besides, the pancakes did look and smell heavenly. A bowl of clotted cream, fruits, syrups, jams, and other spreads are laid out next to them, making for a colorful arrangement. I've never had clotted cream. If this was a brunch with friends, I would have gladly helped myself to the whole lot. But as it is, I accepted just a few pieces of pancakes and topped it off with lemon and sugar.
You know, I was a tiny bit serious when I said I wanted a helipad.
And you're not serious about the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables.
Well, I do want those too, but I know you'll agree to those.
We're talking about interiors here, honey. You don't handle exterior designs and whatever handles those sorts of projects do you, Marianne?
I'm able, actually, and willing to take a project of that nature. I was an architect in Ireland before. Of course, that's another contract entirely. I also suggest we finish the house itself before working on any additions to the rest of the property. There won't be any problems about ownership this time, will there? Pardon if I'm crossing a line, but the acquisition was rather quick.
Oh, don't you worry. We've got everything sorted this time around. I've talked to Miss Cooper and Mr. John from BRC, as well as the old owners. Everything has been paid in full, and all we're waiting for is the paperwork from the land registry. They're letting us move in as soon as we please. It's not like they were living there in the first place.
That's good to hear. The problems that could arise from renovating another person's home would be... well, let's not dwell on it. First off, we'll want to know how you want the place to look. It's pretty furnished as is, but I understand if you want to modernize the whole thing.
Actually, I'd prefer to keep the place looking as it is, but at the same time, I want modern appliances. You worked on the Ludgate's Christchurch summer residence. I do remember there being an oven I thought was a simple drawer before. Make them look vintage, antique, blended with the rest of the decor.
Customize appliances then. I can't find someone for that, and if you can't tell me what you specifically want, it'll hasten up the process. We're talking about electronic appliance manufacturers. If you have a preferred brand to work with.
Splendid! So, what is next on our agenda? All the other interior designers we've hired in the past did not have us this involved.
I stopped. What sort of half-baked designer did that? If I knew who they were, I would have words. This isn't the time or place for it, however. Instead, I use this brief pause to pull out the floor plans I brought with me.
We'll have to figure out what you want to do with the rooms. Here, we can have a quick run through.
What is that little room next to the master's bedroom?
Oh, as far as I could tell when I saw it, it's a second bedroom of sorts. Used, apparently, for the ladies in waiting who has served Lady Charlotte Ermengarde, which is strange, as that isn't the norm for these sorts of houses.
Well, we're not stuffing Johans in there. He won't fit. You don't suppose we could turn it into a walk-in closet and a dressing room?
I love fashion, but do we really need to turn an entire room into a walk-in closet, dear?
Says the one who takes 3/5 of our closet. Well, what do you suggest we do with it?
I thought a utility room of some sort would be nice. A craft room where I can do fun things. Or maybe a children's room might be nice. You know, for when Kylie comes over. Or
1, you are not inviting that witch. And 2, there's a whole mansion for Kylie to play in. We don't need a children's room, and you don't even do arts and crafts. I'd like to turn the guest's room and the study into my personal office, by the way, if you don't mind.
Wait, how come she doesn't get any rooms to herself, but you get all of the rooms for the shit that you want? That seems unfair, Luke. That seems unfair, Luke. Do you hear me? Unfair.
you can turn it into a personal office if I can have my utility room. It's just the one room of the many. I'm taking that room for myself, no matter what you say, dearie. So you might as well take this deal. You're always out doing business anyway. The real problem is the theatre. Whatever are we going to do with all that space?
Fine, we could turn it into our own personal cinema, I suppose. Might as well have it, if you plan on not having a telly in the parlor.
I mean, you guys could turn it into, like, the most epic gaming room ever, but I don't think either of you play video games.
Yes, well, I don't want guests to be glued to the telly when they come over for a meal and some tea. By the looks of things, we can keep the rooms as what they are on the ground floor, though. The ballroom would be perfect for parties.
Do we really need a dining hall, though? I don't suppose we can't convert it into a garage.
What for? You can park your cars outside.
What about that room, right there, in the northwest corner?
That's sleeping quarters for the household help?
Oh, that is perfect! Johans will be glad if we have other staff members who stayed in. It'd be convenient so they don't have to make the trip from Luxbourne to the mansion when they're needed.
You'll definitely need a lot more people to maintain a property of this size.
The mansion is really a lot bigger than I thought. Look at all these rooms. I didn't even know there was a music room next to the parlor because of what happened.
There was a grand piano in there too, when we checked during the tour.
Did you hear that, Luke? Maybe you can take up playing the piano again. Oh, you should have seen him when we were younger, Marianne.
It's not like I was very good with the thing.
Oh, hush you. You were no Mozart, but I loved hearing you play nonetheless. He'd come over to my home and he'd play such fun tunes. He'd sing too, and I'd dance, and it was just...
Mr. Wright playing the piano? I can't imagine it. But the earnest way in Mrs. Wright said so told otherwise.
Anyway, what do you think of these plans, Marianne?
Are we not even going to consider one of my requests? Not even just a closet or just a garage? Now, that isn't fair, is it? You're not the only one who's going to be living here.
I hardly see how that's unfair. I told you you're getting your office and your theatre, the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables. That sounds fair, does it not, Marianne?
Okay, so yes, it sounds fair. I believe gave us bonus points with Hannah. And then we can compromise, I believe, gives us bonus points with Luke. Luke only dies if he's by himself. Alright, we can compromise. Yes, I was right. Okay. I really wish they didn't look at me like that. This is their decision to make. So let me write this down. Luke plus Hannah minus for we can compromise. Yeah, and then we got Luke minus and Hannah plus for it sounds fair. Oops, that does not look... Okay, there we go. But if they want to ask for a professional's point of view, I'll be happy to give my 2 cents.
You can still have a garage.
See, Marianne agrees with me. Thank you.
But The structural integrity of the mansion might be at risk if we try to turn the dining hall or any of the rooms into a garage. Taking down one of the exterior walls might hit one of the support beams. And with a mansion that old, I'd rather not risk it, especially without closer inspection. There's always compromise, of course.
I suppose that's better than nothing. Better than flat out saying no.
Mrs. Wright does have a point. There's plenty of space for a garage outside of the mansion itself. If you'd like a covered parking space, we can arrange something on the grounds instead.
Then we better go there. I want to see where we can build a garage.
Yes, no time like the present. You want a thorough inspection? Might as well do it now. We actually took another look at the property yesterday, though it was brief. But I'm sure you would want to see it yourself, to spot anything we might have missed.
It's not like I have much of a choice, do I? Riding to the Ermengarde mansion in their Royce is an awkward affair. Not only am I worried about scuffing the expensive leather seats, but I'm also worried about getting in the middle of another couple's spat. With the tension thick in the air, I can feel them starting at each other anytime. Nobody's saying anything, up until Mr. Wright tells his valet to turn off the damn radio. And for a moment, I think he might start. But instead, he just stays quiet, and so do the rest of us. In the end, the sufferable silence stays. I've never been so glad to see a house. Stepping out of the car and up to the mansion meant the end of an uncomfortable ride, and I could finally take a deep breath of fresh air. The beauty of the place never fails to make me gaze in wonder every time I see it as well. Mrs. Wright moves towards the front door, keys in hand, and I can already hear Mr. Wright plotting.
All right, Hans, we're going to go in, but I want you to look around the place. Familiarize yourself with it. Know every nook and cranny, every inch of the lot. Go and see where we can put that vineyard and the other things we talked about. We'll want to know where to station security as well, so go around the perimeter and figure it out.
Scout the property and circle the perimeter on foot. You do know this is 46 acres of land, sir.
Well, you are not driving the car over the grass. Put those long, spidery legs of yours to good use. I didn't hire you to stand around and look intimidating. Go, mush.
Somebody, I'd like to ask how Johannes can even stand and tolerate the man. Why doesn't he just quit? Certainly the pay can't be that good. Even I'm a bit put off by our mutual employer, and the only thing that keeps me from bailing is the fact that we've already signed a contract. At least, I'll only be working with them during the duration of the project. He works with them every day.
Sometimes I think you hired me to make me suffer for your amusement.
Someday, I'd ask. I feel a bit bad for him. If it's any consolation, he'll be away from Mr. Wright, if only for a little while. We're able to enter the mansion after a bit of standing out there in the sun. This wretched, strange sunlight that is far too alien and rare. There had been a bit of a problem, but the missus not knowing which key was which, the first item on the agenda would be the grand staircase. It seemed sturdy during the open house, but a closer inspection might say otherwise. There are no obvious marks of damage, nor wear and tear. Probably rethreaded during renovations. Peeking under the grand carpet, the wood is properly installed, with the bark placed down to prevent cupping. The carpet itself could use a vacuum, though. Structural conditions, from what I can see, without actually dismantling the thing, look to be in good shape. And the handrails and support posts are firm. The work on it should be commended. I can't look much more into the rest of the foyer, however, because Mr. Wright starts to hurry us into checking the dining hall.
So, what do you think? Certainly we can't turn this area into a garage.
It's Jacobean architecture. I'd say these would be pilasters and not buttresses, but you never really know. They really liked mixing up these elements. You could say it was pretty avant-garde at the time. We might hit a support beam if we're not careful.
And in layman's terms?
From what I see here, we could risk great damage to the house if we try to turn the dining hall into a garage.
May I have a little bit of Caesar dressing? The man didn't look too pleased at this. There's a look of disappointment before he sighs and looks around the place with an air of defeat. When he moves to speak, I dread another unreasonable demand again.
This will stay a dining hall then. But if I may have another request instead, at least spruce the place up with some flowers, some plants, or something. It feels so old and dead in here.
That's hardly unreasonable. Daffodils are a must, I presume.
The look that passes between the two of them there is a genuine look of fondness. This is the first time I've seen such an exchange between the two of them. If anyone are to see them like this, there is little doubt that they loved each other.
Of course. And I want a garden full of them.
Now, if you excuse me, I'd like to look at the rest of the house.
Sir, you were a little too close to your microphone.
I'll just be around here downstairs if anybody needs me.
That leaves Mrs. Wright and I.
He's quite fond of them, you know.
I can imagine. He looked terribly upset when we told him he can't have his garage.
I meant the daffodils. We always have a vase full of them in every house we own. Somewhere, I'd like to think. They may be about his mother. He never talks about her. I don't even know her name. He likes to flatter, claim that they remind him of me, but he's always loved the flowers, even before we married.
Much like the piano, I didn't take him for a person who liked flowers. Daffodils least of all. What's next? Am I going to find out that Mr. Wright saves kittens from burning buildings?
I'll go and snoop about upstairs. You go and do whatever it is that you have to do.
When she goes, without even asking if I need her here, I'm left standing to stare at the walls. Really, I don't need to do a thorough inspection of the building itself. It isn't really part of an interior designer's job. But the architect in me is committed to doing this task with every project. If I'm going to make a living space that have both form and function, I might as well make sure that the entirety of it is safe for my clients. Since I'm already here, I roam around the dining hall to check things off my punch list, if you will. When it's time to move on, I hesitate. Mr. Wright said he would be somewhere around here on the ground floor, and I really didn't want to be alone with whiskey. I have to look through the place eventually, sure, but on the other hand, I can do it later when he's gone. I can go upstairs first if I want to. Which floor should I go? Alright. Checking the ground floor is where we want, because that gives us interactions with Luke. And then, going to the first floor encounters the creepy blonde lady. Yeah, her dead lover from high school. Just gonna write dead blonde girl in my notes. Alright, Ground floor! Alright, just because there's one troublesome client doesn't mean I'll let him get in the way of my work. Yeah, you tell him, Marianne. The parlor is my first destination. Mostly because I figure Mr. Wright is hiding down the wine cellar making plans there. I'm going to bump into him sooner or later, but I'd rather make it later. Much, much later. The place, upon closer inspection, is in good shape. I don't doubt this place was done with the most care, considering it would be one of the first rooms visitors would see during the open house. There's a stain on the carpet, most likely by one of the guests at the time, but it isn't anything a good cleaning can't get rid of. Next is the music room. Or at least, that's the plan.
Locked? Oh, come on now.
I rattle the doorknob again, harder this time, to double check, and even give it a good budge to see if it isn't a problem with the door itself. But no, definitely locked. That's weird, considering the rest of the rooms aren't. It could just be this one, though, and I can try the other door through the ballroom if I really want to get in. And that's when I hear it. The sound of a piano. Though it just plays one note, over and over again. It makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand, and I back away from the door. Though I wasn't exactly the superstitious sort, what am I going to do? The room is locked. I can just go back to it later, maybe see if I can go through the ballroom, and... The music room door opens, and who else but Luke Wright stands by the doorway. He looks a lot like a cat that ate a canary, and I didn't anticipate the way his eyes linger on me.
Isn't it common sense that locked doors mean someone wants a bit of privacy? You didn't try to break the door down. Or did you just want to see me again that badly without the misses? I don't see why you would, though, Mint. Nothing really happened between us.
Well, I wasn't looking for whiskey. I was just going around to do my inspection. Thought it needed a push, just in case the door was stuck and actually needed repairs.
So you really are some fancy interior designer, huh? Had you told me you were one, I would have called you a piss taker. I figured you'd be, I don't know, an assistant going for a drink after a week with a tosser of a boss.
I'm just glad you thought me any sort of professional with how ossified I was. I must have not looked the part, so I understand your surprise.
He doesn't offer a witty retort and grows quiet for a moment.
At first glance, Hannah didn't look like some fancy finance manager when I first met her either. She was the pretty daughter of this rich, powerful man. When she was introduced, they told me that she was not there as the man's daughter, but as a part of management. I thought it dubious. All the beautiful women I knew before her, they used their looks to get what they want. And there she was, with all that she could ever need in life. And yet she works hard to earn her keep.
It sounds like you admire her.
Hearing that, I too can't help but feel admiration for Mrs. Wright.
You enjoy your job, don't you, Mint?
It helps me earn my keep, as you would put it. A bit strange to say out loud, but it gives me purpose as well.
Do you think then that, maybe, Hannah would want to go back to being a working person?
Taken aback at his question, I wait for further clarification. What makes him ask this? And why me, of all people? But when I see no explanation is coming, I think I should save. Alright, so this is a new thing that I haven't seen yet. So we have you should ask her. Oops, apparently I can't spell. Or, she seems content. Did I save? I did, okay. Let's try, you should ask her.
Shouldn't you be asking her this? Isn't her opinion much more important than that of someone you just met in a pub a few nights ago?
Oh shit, that actually has positive Luke points. Sweet. I made the right choice the first time. Hell yeah.
You're a woman, and I figured you might know more. I mean, people are always saying that women are fulfilled by having husbands and having a good home. But then I see ones like you who look happy having jobs. Maybe she's like you, and having a job would be better for her.
I feel like literally anyone would be happy with a good home and a happy spouse. Like, why does it have to be a woman that needs a good home and a happy husband?
Just because I'm a woman? You do know we don't all think the same way. But I don't know, I'm not married or anything, but this shouldn't be a complicated matter. She's your wife for how many years? Talk to her. Ask her what she wants. Don't you guys talk during supper or something?
That gets him thinking. Or at least it looks like it does.
Well, I should let you get back to work. Thanks for talking with me, I suppose.
Right. But anything goes awry if you take my advice, just remember that I'm not some marriage counselor. So take it with a grain of salt.
My marriage goes down the shitter, I'll sue you. Noted.
Wait, that's not...
Too late. He takes a step back into the music room, shuts the door, and leaves me there looking gobsmacked. Right? Luke is such a dick. He wasn't serious, was he? That man, I don't understand him at all. One moment, he's this huge arse, and then he's this person the
What a
next.
guy. Still needs a good arse kicking if you ask me.
Okay, so forget about going into the music room then. That's fine. He'll have to go out there sooner or later. In the meantime, I can go around and check the rest of the house. All my worries fade when I step into the ballroom. And well, the whole place is just grand, isn't it? I can see why the Wrights made sure nobody else would take this from them. Anyone who has it will certainly be the belle of the ball. It's pretty much one great big status symbol. I don't think I can do much of a thorough inspection in this room, so I note it down for later. Moving on to the kitchens, I check the ventilation and the general fire safety in the kitchen. This bit is more important for a place of this size. I would, of course, suggest bringing an actual fire safety inspector over for a more detailed inspection. It wouldn't do to see such beautiful architecture go up in flames, after all. I take measurements of the countertops and cabinets, note down what type of wood they use. They wanted some of these recreated to hide modern appliances. There's a loose floorboard in the farthest corner, and some of the others had scratches, but everything else seems to be in decent shape. My concentration is broken when someone knocks.
You can come in. Door's not locked.
I wait, expecting Mrs. Wright or the butler to come in, but nobody entered. Instead, there's that knocking again. It's louder and more urgent this time, and I'm pretty sure I didn't lock the thing.
All right. I'm coming. Just hold on.
When I moved to open the door, though, I realized something. The knocking isn't coming from the door, but from somewhere else. The trap door? I paused for a second, waiting. But the knocking has not ceased. And soon enough, it becomes desperate. The dull thuds from before, switching to what seems to be scratching? Desperate and insistent at once, as if grasping for respite.
Is somebody stuck down there? Heck!
Oh shit! I've never seen this before. Where did that come from? How did it even get down there? That put the heart cross way in me, it did. I love cats, but they have no business giving people a fright. For a second there, all those ghastly rumors about this place had come flooding back. Now, peering into the darkness of the open trapdoor gets me thinking. And it gets me curious. Seriously though, I should really make sure that there aren't any more surprises from down under. I don't think the Wrights would appreciate it if we find a litter of kittens making a house of the wine cellar. Mr. Wright seemed to be the type to skin a cat if any of his precious wines were to be contaminated. I'm done with the kitchens anyway. Going down a flight of stairs while wearing high heels is always a bad idea. Descending into the dark underground only made it worse, but I managed anyhow without any major slip-ups.
These stairs need work, that's for sure.
Surprisingly, the wine cellar is in good condition. No water damage from last year's flooding, and apart from the dust and cobwebs that have accumulated, the place will likely hold for several more years. Racks and barrels line the walls, making the spacious room look smaller than it is. I'm no expert, but it looks good enough for immediate use without any further additions. Bloody Whiskey will be having a field day. I think so anyway, until I feel something crunch beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind here are now nothing but glass under my heels. The cat's fault, I'd wager. And it made a downright mess, with red slick pooling from the remnants of a good drink. There's a lot of stuff for to have just been a few bottles, though. A whole trail of it flows from the end of the room, and I follow, fully expecting a leaking barrel or a whole upturned rack. Instead, it just keeps going on, or it keeps on going, and it stops in a large puddle at the very back wall.
What a waste of wine. Why is it so sticky, though? Ugh.
'Cause it's blood, Marianne. It's thick, too. Nothing like wine. Of course, it could just be mold.
Maybe it's not wine. Go on, touch it. I dare ya.
Despite it all, I find myself answering. Because it's her voice. Amy Lorraine. Lovely Amy. Pretty Amy. I can imagine her standing there with me, laughing and pestering me as I did my work in the only way friends can. She was my friend, and the only one I had at St. Sampson's. I was a scholar, the charity case, in a school for privileged and prestigious young girls. They all looked down on me, if they cared to look at me or acknowledge my presence at all except her. Sometimes I wish for the good old days when we were friends. Now she's nothing but a ghost, though I try so hard to get over her. I really, really do.
What am I, 5 years old? Oh, damn it, it's stuck under my shoe.
I double dare you. Hell, I double dog dare you. Don't be such a scaredy cat. It's probably wine. What else could it be? Blood?
Don't be ridiculous. Why would there be blood down here?
If I was the joking sort, I would have said it might be the reason why the previous owners sold the place. Maybe the ghost stories are actually true, and they wanted to get away from the walls that dripped of ectoplasmic goo and whatever other ghouls haunted about. Doubt it. I hardly believe in any of the voodoo nonsense as it is, but as I stare at the mess at my feet, probably looking like a fool while I'm at it, I notice something strange. It isn't visible, unless one is really paying attention. But I can see the red gunk seeping through a crack in the wall.
What's this then?
I worry about structural damage and damage to the foundation. I worry about the wine cellar, as the wrong conditions can lead to the deterioration of its contents if the temperatures and humidity are not controlled. Up until I see how clean-cut the crack is, it runs along the edge of the wall and vertically along with it, where a door would be. Pressing my hand against the wall lends credence to the idea, as I try to feel where it would give way.
Ooh, could it be an adventure then? A secret passage? There must be a hidden switch somewhere. Go look! This is the most interesting thing you've done by far.
If there's a hidden room here, that could certainly explain the discrepancy in the mansion's floor plans. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to think that there could be hidden rooms and passageways all over the house if we're to follow that logic. And boy, isn't it exciting? This feels like something straight out of a game. Suddenly, she touches my arm and I flinch away in shock. That shouldn't be possible. I understand auditory hallucinations, maybe even visual hallucinations. But that was...
You look surprised. What's wrong?
You? That's not possible. You're...
dead.
Aren't you happy to see a dear old friend, though? I'm hurt, I am.
What the hell is going on here?
Oh, isn't it obvious? I come back for you, so that we can be together again.
When she touches me once more, I recoil. What does she mean, together again? She's dead.
No! Leave me alone!
Leave you alone? But I just got here.
Turning around, I'm met with the Wright's butler, who looks at me with an indifferent look. When I look back, Rain is gone.
I wasn't talking to you, just thinking aloud is all.
You should really avoid talking to yourself, Kint. Do more of that and others will think you're insane.
Yes, thank you. Is that all you're here for, or has your master sent you running down here for something?
Oh, no, I am just down here to admire the place. I've not been inside before. I thought I would look around before we return to the city. The car is already running, you see, and I suggest you go back to the foyer, unless you wish to be left behind. It seems you are in good company already, after all, with this house and your imaginary friend.
Wait, we're leaving already? But I haven't finished inspecting the rest of the house.
Be that as it may, there's a sulking man-child up there who wishes to go home. We are all subject to his whims, lest he throw a tantrum.
Aw, what a big baby! I can't help but smile at that. He's a strange guy. I still can't imagine how he can work for a guy like Luke Wright, though. I imagine the blood arse ain't an easy guy to get along with. Whatever the butler was having to tolerate, that I want 10 of it.
And we wouldn't want any soiled knickers or spilled milk. Why don't you go head on and I'll be right there.
Very well. Do be careful on your way back. I saw some broken glass on the way and it would not do to cut yourself on them.
I will, yeah. Just tell Mr. Wright not to blow a gasket or anything. I'll be just a minute.
Speaking of blowing gaskets, there's something else dangerous here. Whatever is behind that door, it could pose some problems. Best case scenario, it only ruined good stocks of wine. But who knows what's behind that false wall? I'll have to come back to it. It's already dark as we make our way out of the mansion. With no lights, we are only illuminated by the headlamps of the Wright's car and the stars above us. The sight of them helps me compose myself much more than several minutes of being alone did. The car's engine is running, yet the two still stand out on the lawn. Mrs. Wright is busy, eyes up to the stars. And Mr. Wright, arms crossed, has his eyes down on the ground. It is the crunch of the grass under my heels that brings their attention to me.
About time. What took you so long? A minute longer and I'd think the house swallowed you all up.
Oh, hush, dear. I'm sure she has her reasons. Marianne doesn't seem the sort to idle.
Sorry, I was just checking on something important.
See, business is business and they take time, love. You should know that better than anyone. So, Marianne, what do you think? Are you the woman for the job? I know we already signed papers hiring you, but I want to be 100% sure that you are committed.
I glanced towards the mansion, knowing what I had seen there. That curious thing in the wine cellar, which is stuff I'd only read about from fucking horror stories. And her. I should feel the slightest bit hesitant. I was lucky. I've seen enough films to know what happens when a promiscuous woman enters a haunted house. This is my chance to turn it down, make excuses, and say that I'm not up to the task, that I need to take of my old sick father. Just pay the fine, which is probably outrageous for a contract like this, and let it go. I should turn it down. But for some obstinate reason, I can't. In the same manner, I haven't let go of her, of the regret that has shadowed me since that day. Much as I hate to admit it, even to myself, seeing her again, the mischievous glint in her eyes, the loose tendrils of her hair curled around her forehead. It's something I've terribly missed, and now that it's here, almost within arm's reach, my father would tell me, sometimes you simply have to go through with it. Consequences be damned. And well, I really don't have any logical reason to say no. At least not something a client like the Wrights would want to hear from a professional designer.
It's certainly an interesting project. You can be sure I'm seeing it through the end.
Such dedication! Oh, I do love the determination.
You were always determined like that, weren't you?
Hearing her voice again sends a chill running down my back. I can't wait for this day to be over. From the mansion and through Anselm, I rode with them in silence. But as soon as we hit the city proper, I asked to be dropped off and bid them good night. I thought it'd be best if I didn't stay too long in confined spaces with either Mrs. or Mr. Wright. Both seemed to cause me serious trouble, and if the project had been any less interesting or grand, I would have dropped it without a second thought. Would have. Shouldn't have. Won't. I assure them that my place isn't that far off, and I have to fight off the urge to roll my eyes and groan when whiskey throws me a little smirk. But even in my own home, peace is elusive as asleep. I lie awake, thinking of what I saw in the mansion, of who I saw. If I as so much as hear a single whisper from her, if I as so much as see a wisp of her hair, I'm afraid I'll go mad. But none of that happens, and it makes me feel hollow. For 2 nights, I've had trouble sleeping. But it's only one morning, when fatigue has already left me rest, that I'm reminded of what terrifies me so. In my restless dreams, I see that mirror. Give me 1 second. Whoops, I pushed the wrong button. There we go. The one in the study. And in it, I see her. I see them. Oh yeah! Creepy, 2 heads, 1 body. You know, I'm just now noticing, or maybe I think it's 1 body, but I can't tell if that's Hannah's shoulder or if this body has 3 boobs. Hannah and Lorraine.
Oh, pathetic Marianne! Work, work, work! She'll work herself to death!
See, she doesn't listen. That's all she did. Look at what happened to me.
They talk amongst themselves with cruel smiles and venomous tongues. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to pause for a second so I can take a screenshot of this creepy shit. Cause like, it is creepy shit. Like, look at this. Look at, you know, the two bodies. To them, or rather to themselves, 2 heads and 1 body. A horrible mockery of these women, as if there were one and the same.
more's the pity. Life goes on and goes out, and she doesn't even see it.
Do you think she'll even realize when she's kicked the bucket herself?
When they say a person has a hard time telling when they're in a dream, it was true often for me. Even with this bizarre sight, even with the obvious implication that this isn't real, I can't help but feel distressed.
Likely. Is that any way to live at all? She might as well be dead.
Cruel fate that she's alive and I'm... well...
Though they speak in each other's ears, tones low and hushed, I can still hear them as clear as day. Their whispers pervade the air, heavy and oppressive. They bury and dig into my head like tiny maggots, worming their way into my skull. It is only then that they take notice of my presence. I'm sorry, they're looking at me and I don't like it. Like they're making eye contact and I hate it with every fiery passion of my soul. Like, it's just so disturbing. I hate it so much. I really just don't understand why. Like, ugh, like who has dreams like this? Eyes turn towards me and I can only feel small under their scrutiny. Caricature smiles etched on their faces, mimicking each other grotesquely.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Have you been looking at us? Spying? How scandalous. Such a naughty girl.
I'm sure you were just waiting for something lewd to happen, weren't you?
I mean, I don't know how you would... Like, how would you even think of that sort of imagery with two heads? Like, I don't even want to know.
You know she will not admit it. She thinks it wrong. You've said it so yourself.
Yes. She thought me wrong, impure, abnormal, because I loved her.
Oh, God! My breathing hitches and I open my mouth to protest, but they stop me screeching. The mirror that holds them cracks, lines spidering across the surface.
Do not lie! We know the gluttonous thoughts you try to deny, girl. All those desires you bury beneath that sickening guilt.
I'm sorry. This is just really disturbing. You know, just them sitting there screaming at you. Like, if this was my nightmare, I feel I would have to immediately request an appointment with my counselor. Like, so I had a dream with girls, specifically a two-headed one.
You act the martyr when you turn the bed you lie in into your own hedonistic hell. You are nothing but a tainted soul with filth-stained flesh held together by falsehood and pride.
They would women. And when it looks like they would lunge, I wake, feeling like the wind had been knocked out of me. I'm sorry, but if you think that's sexy, I have some questions. With a groan, I squint and find a certain fluff ball sitting on my chest, looking as pleased as Punch. Oh, it's Peruthiel! She is the overlady of cats, queen of despairs and destructions of nice furniture. Though I can't stay mad at Her Majesty because it feels like she did something good this time. I was having a nightmare, but I can't even remember what it was about. Alright, let's look at where we are in this journal. Oh, wow. I guess I haven't looked at the journal this whole time. Yep. No. At this point, Isabel is in a coma. Yeah.
Thank you, little lady, for the ambience.
Yeah. Yeah, see, Hannah dies on Saturday. We're on Wednesday the 26th. So she's not dead yet. And then Zach dies on Halloween. So currently everyone is still alive except Isabella. Isabella's in the hospital. Yeah, trying to recall leaves a terrible pit in my stomach. Maybe it's probably better that I don't remember.
Good morning, Baruthiel. Who's the good kitty? Are you hungry? Is that why you woke me up?
A content purr from my sweet dear before she jumps off the bed and trots towards the kitchen. On the other hand, it takes me a bit more before I roll out of bed and start my day. Mornings before work is always a quiet affair. Shower first, then a mug of coffee and a bowl of oats. Sometimes I do stretches, and I always check my work email. The Wrights will be moving into the mansion today. I don't think the paperwork is officially done yet, but it isn't too far-fetched to think that they were allowed to start their move despite that. Rich people like them will always find ways to get what they want, after all.
I'll be leaving you again today, Beth. So you behave and make sure not to shred up my new covers, okay? And don't worry, I didn't forget tomorrow is Black Cat Day, so I'll throw you a party. But only if you behave like a proper lady.
Yeah, be a proper lady, cat. She barely gives me a glance as I say that before going back to her own food. Cats. Still better than humans most of the time. Too bad I have to work with humans. The place is already busy as soon as I get here. The foreman, one that I've recommended to the Wrights for his work ethic, is early as usual. Already he's instructing men here and there with the bigger loads. I have no chance to talk to him as Mrs. Wright appears and greets me with a smile.
Mrs. Wright, I hope everything has been to your liking thus far.
Good morning, Marianne. It has been delightful and these men have been very helpful. Look at all this. It's so busy here. I'm getting tired just looking at them go.
No complications so far with the movers or the previous owners of the mansion, I hope?
If anything, the only one being problematic is Luke, if I'm to be honest. He can be such a diva, but I do like that about him.
She stops, looking up at the upper landing where Mr. Wright comes through with two other movers and the mirror from the study.
Oh, do be careful with that mirror. We wouldn't want anyone getting hurt because of broken glass. Why are you even having it carried around?
Oh? You did say you didn't want the mirror, and I keep getting distracted by it. If I'm going to turn the study into my office, I'd rather not have it there. Where can we put this?
Well, you are not putting it in our room. Why don't you go, I don't know, put it in the wine cellar for now? We can figure out to store it in the attic or somewhere else later, yes?
You heard her, boys. To the cellar it goes. Mush!
Ugh, the movers bring down the mirror one step at a time, no matter how much the man tells them to hurry. An unsettling feeling grows in my stomach as I see a reflection in the bloody thing. That's the mirror from my dream. As soon as they go into the kitchen, I realize I'm holding my breath. I let out a sigh of relief when I think nobody is looking, and I go back to the task at hand. It'll be a terribly busy day, and there's no need for me to even think of anything else. I talk with the foreman and fill him in which room is which. It seems I'm doomed to not get any significant work done without being interrupted when it comes to these particular clients, however.
Marianne, dear, have you had breakfast yet? Well, I do believe it would be considered brunch at this hour.
Oh yes, Mrs. Wright, I...
You must join me. Johans has already been breaking in the kitchen, as they say. I do not see the others settling down for a meal anytime soon. And that someone might as well be us.
I should say no. I really must say no. But the way she smiles at me makes it difficult to do so. Look at how ridiculous I'm being. Acting like a silly, nervous girl with a crush. It's just brunch, and who am I to say no to a client? It would be impolite to do so. It's not like I'm going to agree because of anything other than propriety. I'm not agreeing just because she batted her pretty eyelashes at me.
If you insist.
It really isn't any of those. Sure, Marianne, whatever you say. But it's something about her eyes, rather. She looks like she needs a good talk. A friend. And although I'm not supposed to be chummy with my clients, there's no harm in pretending, right? Of course, I've been wrong on many occasions before. Maybe there is plenty harm in pretending that I care. Because pretending that I care might lead to actually caring. Being alone in the same room as Mrs. leaves me reeling as I find myself paying too much attention to her. It seems so borderline unhealthy how much I'm getting obsessed, even if it's just by looking. And it's the little insignificant things that I noticed, like the way she plays with her hair, or how she smooths down her dress.
Up, higher, come on now!
Whiskey's annoying voice in the other room helps pull me back to the ground. I'm just looking, aren't I? I know that someone like her wouldn't even look at someone like me. Still, there's some time to turn around this bad to see.
I'd really like to thank you for inviting me to breakfast, Mrs. Wright, but I already ate, so I should really go back to work.
Nonsense! You arrived so early, you must not have gotten a proper meal. Sit, sit! I'd situate us in the dining hall, but it is a mess right now.
Her concern is sweet, as is her smile. But I'm really not here for the idle chit-chat. Something I keep forgetting. We're both distracted when the food arrives. And it's enough for me to stay, at least until the meal is over. No more, no less, just to be polite. Thankfully, the conversation steers into topic I'm comfortable with. Work. This goes on for a bit, and I can't be more relieved. Most people don't understand, calling me a workaholic. But I choose to work in a field I'm enthusiastic about. So what if my career is also my hobby?
But no, really, how have you liked it so far?
Oh, it has been wonderful, believe me. Everything is going smoothly too. It has been a long time since I've worked on something on this grand a scale. Nowadays, everyone is about condos and flats, living in the city where every room is an identical box. Believe me, this is very refreshing.
We lived in a condo before this, Marianne.
I didn't mean any insult.
It's fine, sweetie. Look at you, all frazzled. I was just pulling your leg. Luke wanted that penthouse when we got married, and you can thank him for purchasing this place as well.
Wait, she doesn't own the house? I'm pretty sure... I have no business with it, though. It's theirs to hash out. But apparently, the momentary confusion had been visible on my face.
Don't be fooled. I'm just the treasury. I wouldn't be able to make a purchase this grand without his seal of approval.
I see.
That's it. That's all you have to say.
Yes. What else is there to it? Without warning, this nice, friendly chat devolved into something horrible. Something sad.
but I really don't know what to say, Mrs. Wright. We were talking of no topic in particular, and...
Luke. We were talking about Luke.
About him not eating breakfast with you?
About him treating me as if I were some treasury.
Despite my general dislike of the upper class, I sometimes feel pity for them. They may have all the money in the world where material things aren't a problem. But they don't even see what they've become, where they've ended up, or what they've done most of the time. They're shut in their own trap, forced to play along with society's expectations, and do anything to stay where they are and to keep what they have. A world where even people feel or are treated like they are mere possessions. When someone is at the top, the only way for them to go is down. I've worked with many Hannahs and Lukes and Whiskies, but I've never been one of them. I don't pretend to understand their world any deeper than that. I merely know what I've witnessed before. She looks lost, speechless at how she betrayed herself. My pity for the likes of her returns. Nothing but pity moves me as I speak before she can say anything else that might ruin or break her.
I won't speak a word, Mrs. Wright. Not only am I contractually obliged to, it would also go against my principles. This is no one else's business but your own, and it should be kept between the two of you. And whoever you wish to seek counsel from.
Please, Marianne. You have to understand. These sort of affairs, if anyone were to know this, they could just twist it and we'll be ruined. All I ask for is your silence on the matter.
The way she practically begs me to keep quiet about it is disheartening. I have no plans of speaking about anything I hear, especially if it is about their private affairs. But the way she looks at me, the way she just expects some sort of fallout because of this, makes my heart clench.
Well, I'm keeping that information confidential as well.
It's not like I have any other choice, do I?
Thank you.
When the last of the food and drink is gone, the doors open as if on cue.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
This was a wonderful meal, Marianne. You're free to return to your duties. I must excuse myself.
It was my pleasure. And thank you for the food as well.
She stands up. She stands to up and leave, and all I want to do is reassure her again, to prove that I am someone she can trust. So when she looks back my way, I didn't fight the smile that found its way on my face. I feel giddy, but the feeling dies down afterwards as I sober up. Oh well, back to work. Soon enough, I find myself drawn to the kitchen, where the right butler has returned to. He's already claimed the space, telling the movers to back off, and none dares to question his proclamation either.
My kitchen. No kinder allowed. Little men running around with knives especially. We do not want any accidents to happen now, do we? Good? Good.
I mean, it is a knife-wielding German standing there. I don't think anybody would be insane enough to refuse his request.
I hope I meet the age restriction, or at least the height restriction, because...
You are allowed inside, McCulloch, but not the little ones.
A shake of my head and a roll of my eyes is all I give him. It's not like I'm going to be of any trouble to him. I just need to look around and get my bearings. The breakfast had been distraction enough. I don't even want to think about what we just talked about. I just need to get my head straight and get back to work. The movers work efficiently, even when they're left alone, and they do quick work of their responsibilities. The head foreman comes, standing in the doorway to consult me on this or that, and I have to go help out every now and then. But they pretty much have everything up to standards. They skip lunch entirely, not even realizing when they do so. Nevertheless, all is well as the butler gets to heating up leftover Bubble and Squeak from breakfast and makes a generous batch of fish and chips for them. I really want to know what Bubble and Squeak is. Most likely simple in comparison to what he serves to the right, but all well done nonetheless.
That smells good. Want to wrap up some for me to go?
It's an idle conversation. More than anything, my thoughts as they are preoccupy me.
If there are any left. One can't go wrong with fish and chips. Everyone loves them. Even my husband. And he's American.
I really do hate getting so up close and personal with my clients. It's a distraction. It is obvious to me that I've gotten my priorities all wrong when I can't help but think about what I heard, what I learned about the right couple. These things have a way of creeping up on a person. Thoughts, ideas, whether they are fact or fiction. They creep up and fester, and crawl and writhe in a way that twists. I hear giggling, delighted and mocking. They creep up, and the sensation of fingers ghostly briefly on my arm causes me to freeze and hiss.
Don't!
I half expect her to be there.
Whoa, no need to scream bloody murder. It's just me. Quiet down before you break glass.
But it's just whiskey.
Don't do that again. Ever.
I don't like being scared, though I don't believe in the likes of spooks, and being startled is not on the top of the list of things Marianne likes. Lucky for him, I have nothing within reach, or he would have gotten on friendly terms with something like a rolling pin.
What was with that reaction? Were you really scared? Has Johan's been telling you ghost stories? He just loves to scare people. Isn't that right, Brother Gurium?
The butler's expression is unreadable, and I hardly see any emotion on his face to begin with, since I started working for the Wrights aside from vague amusement. There must have been something there, though, judging from Mr. Wright's own content look. The expression on Mr. Wright's face is almost cruel. But neither of them spoke, even as Johann leaves the room to serve the workers their late lunch.
So, now that we're alone, Marianne, what are you so jumpy for?
I was
I'm being
just
haunted by dead girls.
thinking about all the urban legends the movers have been telling me about this place.
Don't tell me you believe in that tosh. They're nothing but tales made up to scare children. Timmy, Billy, don't you dare go up to that big mansion and get in trouble there. The ghosts are going to get you.
That's a boring way to look at it, but that's usually what it is anyway, no? Like I said, I was just thinking.
It would be a relief, actually, if those rumors of this place being haunted is true. That just means I'm not going bonkers. Hearing, let alone seeing a dead person, isn't exactly the symptoms of a healthy mind. Sure, it means there would be such things as ghosts, ghouls, and goblins, but at least I'd be sane. On the other hand, There would actually be a dead girl walking around.
If you could excuse the inane question, Mr. Wright, you haven't noticed anything weird here?
A simple enough question on the surface, yet I notice the men stiffen as the question leaves my mouth. I would have noticed it if I wasn't watching his reaction intently, but in his eyes I see something dangerous.
That depends on your definition of the word weird. Are we still on the topic of this place being haunted? Because no, things have not started to fly around and we have yet to require an exorcism. I don't think my head would like to do the whole 180-degree turn thing.
Well, maybe that, but no strange people?
Aside from my usually weird butler and all the weird men traipsing around touching my things? No, not really. Why do you ask? Have you noticed anyone strange while you were here? Because you must report it to Johans and he'll have security handle it. But these reports better not be about ghosts and things that go bump in the night. I don't want to waste manpower on the boogeyman or senseless witch hunts.
I'll keep that in mind, Mr. Wright. But no, it's nothing like that. I guess the mansion is just strange for me. It's a unique project.
No strange men or women lurking about then?
A dead teenager would technically qualify as strange. But yeah, the whole I see dead people thing isn't going to go over well.
None that I know of. But I'll inform Johans immediately if something comes up.
I'm serious, Mint. You see anything, anyone suspicious, and you report it. Immediately.
Yes, sir.
I think that goes without saying.
The concern he had on the talk of security is quickly gone. His arrogant, smug smirk returns, if a bit subdued. Whatever smarmy remark or innuendo he has at the ready never comes, though, as voices from the dining hall ring out.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least not all the time.
That would be the magazine photographer, I presume. As always, Mrs. Wright talks in such a kind, cheery fashion, no matter who she's talking with. It certainly puts people at ease around her. It sounds like it's working on the photographer, too. Hearing them, though, seems to put Mr. Wright in a sour mood. At least, if his small scowl is anything to go by. Is he jealous? Why, yes, madam. I believe he is. Alright, we're going to save. And I can't recall which option is bonus points with Luke, so... Let's see, we have try to lighten the mood. Or ask if he's alright. Alright, I'm going to... Wait, did I save? Yes, I did. I'm going to ask.
Hey, are you alright there, Whiskey? You're looking like you need a serious drink.
Oh, sweet. Bonus points with Luke. So asking if he is alright gives us plus with Luke.
What is it that you want to do then?
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
I'm fine. Just a bit winded from all that moving about. It's been a long day.
And the day's not over yet. So if you can excuse the bluntness, you either shape up to help or ship out back to your room and let us do the rest of the work.
He hesitates, eyes locked firmly on the door that led to the dining hall. Even now, we can still hear as Mrs. Wright and the photographer chit-chat in between shots.
It's not my place to say this, but she really does seem to care a lot about you, you know?
There's no need to remind me of that.
A strange smile appears on his face before he shuts his eyes and sighs.
Tell the workers that you're all dismissed early.
That's nice and all, whiskey. But we really shouldn't just take off. Delays aren't a good thing when it comes to big projects like these. The sooner we tackle certain issues, the better.
And I trust you can take care of these issues another day. Don't make me ask again, Mint. Just tell the others they can go home early, and to not worry, they'll still get paid the remaining hours.
I don't know what prompted this. With the air he's putting on, though, I know better than to meddle and prod further. Besides...
Fine, you're the boss.
Walking out of the kitchen, I just accept the fact that whatever he says will go while under his roof. Mrs. Wright and the photographer are still far too busy in conversation to notice me, even as I make my way through the dining hall. Besides, I didn't want to ruin their fun.
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Going to the foyer has me stumble upon the family butler once more, who raises a brow at my presence.
And where are you off to in a hurry, Miss McCulloch? The foreman is looking for you.
The Bratwurst wants us off the clock. He's dismissing us early because of... Oh, I don't know. He just wants us out of here.
I'll go and call a cab for you then. It would be for the best that you leave when he asks you to.
I don't doubt it. My ride back to the city doesn't take too long to get here. Granted, there were some difficulties at first, because the driver didn't know where the Ermengarde mansion is. He tried to have us hand over the GPS coordinates from our smartphones, or some other technobabble I didn't care about, but the butler didn't understand. But as soon as we told him it's that haunted mansion over in Anselm Village, he knew just the place. And finally headed over, albeit with some hesitation. All the way back to the city, the driver keeps complaining about the place, giving him the willies. It gives me the willies too. I would have loved to snap at him. But as soon as the thought occurs to me, another blossoms in the forefront of my mind. One that has somehow bothered me greatly. More than my exasperation over whiskey and this project, or wanting all of it to stop. There has been no Lorraine whispering over my ears today. Worse, I find myself searching for it. Yikes. Marianne needs some counseling. Searching for her. Loose ends. Fucking bloody loose ends everywhere. I thought I've already moved past this years ago. Well, clearly you did not, and some therapy might help you. And it does nothing to help me curb my frustration. If anything, it only ensures that I want a stiff drink. And where else do I go? Tuesdays are for karaoke, and Wednesdays, improv. Usually, it's these four guys who did hilarious games, and the one with Irish drinking songs are always a crowd favorite. Though I love a good laugh, stand-up comedy isn't my thing, and without Cam or Haruna, or any other distractions, I end up drinking a lot more this time. And when there's several bottles of beer in me, I get really, really embarrassing.
Hey! G! Psst! G, come over here!
Alright, I'm gonna fast forward this bar scene, because I'm pretty sure it's the same as the previous Marianne I did. If not, it will stop me. So here we go, fast forward. Well, it's gonna keep fast forwarding until I hit a new decision. So once again, be sure to watch Marianne Bad Ending Route A for the stuff that I fast forwarded through. And we're gonna save here because I believe I believe this is where I need to make the choice of whether or not to help or to make sure Marianne lives. So we have stay or go in. Oh, did I save? I did. Okay. Let me just make sure before I pick. Okay, so I want to hit stay. Or no, I'm sorry, I want to hit go in because stay is death. So, no time like the present, eh? I have to hurry, and I turn around when there's a crash. In my haste, I bump into the mirror, making it fall to the ground and shatter into 100 pieces. And shit. I hope that isn't an original piece. I don't think my insurance will be able to cover it. I can probably find an imitation to replace it, and the door slams shut behind me, and I nearly have a heart attack because of it. But when I see a much more visible lever on the side, I calm down and shake my head. On the other side is a passageway, an underground tunnel that has me mystified for a mere moment until I realize what it holds. Cells closed off by heavy iron bars line the sides. A general sense of death and decay lingers heavily through the years. Though, the years should have taken away almost, if not all, of the stench. Of the foul smell of human and corpses alike being left to rot. The breeze, most likely coming from the other end of the passage that goes through, is to thank for that. If the place had been enclosed like a mausoleum, I imagine the odor would be fouler than it is now.
Dear Lord in St. Adelaide, bless these poor souls.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it, though the architect of their time was magnificent. Human rights wasn't exactly a big thing back then. And if the Ermengarde mansion had a place like this hidden away, who knows what sorts of heinous acts were done down here. There is no time to dwell on it further, though. Not when... Oh, Jesus. A ghastly thing. A corpse of a woman leans on the wall. Her arms and limbs, almost every inch of her lithe body is peppered with wounds and rotting flesh. And it is then that the putrid smell of blood and gore hits me, making it so that I don't even question how I missed it in the first place.
How long has this been here? Oh, that smell. Oh, you're a nasty one, aren't you?
I flinched, the thing twitches. And as soon as it opens its eyes and looks at me with a smile, there's nothing on my mind but horror. Oh boy, that sounds great. I break into a run. I try to keep on running no matter how much my legs and feet scream at me to stop. I keep going, even when I look back and see nothing of her anymore because I can still hear her. The scampering of her feet, the words she tries to form with her bloody mouth, and the painful sounds of bones grinding against each other as she moves closer and closer to me.
How long are these damn tunnels?
There's a split second where I know that thing is right behind me. A strange sensation creeping over my limbs when the presence looms over me. And then suddenly, I I can't even do anything before I'm yanked by the hair and pulled back. Still I struggle, and up until I'm thrown to the side like some ragdoll. I hit the ground on my side, and the musty smell of old hay that reaches me is my only indication I'm still alive.
Please don't hurt me!
My body hurts, and I keep my eyes shut tight, afraid of what might happen next.
What's wrong, Marianne? Are you really afraid of little old me?
There's a flash of hope. She can help me, save me from that thing. But as I see her smile, the same one that thing have, I know then this isn't Lorraine. I am a fool to think so in the first place. It never could have been her to begin with. The real Lorraine is dead. She looms over me, backs me further in the cell that I was thrown in.
What are you?
Lorraine turns and shifts into that thing from before. And with that same gruesome grin, it takes a step forward towards the cell, towards me. I barely scramble to my knees when the door to the cell slams shut, and it stands there staring. Shouts for help ring out in the tunnels. Oh boy. Marianne, you are stuck. But none of them are coming from me. I'm more paralyzed and shocked by what is happening. My throat tightens at being fooled by the image of Lorraine, at the thought of being trapped down here. So then where?
Help me! Help me! Oh, help me! Are you getting all this on camera, Carl?
Don't you just love it when teenagers are stupid? Yes. They always die in the horror movies.
Yeah, but are you guys sure this is a good idea? We're breaking and entering here. Don't worry, the owners of this place haven't been here in a long time. Look at this thing, though. It has writing in blood like some cheesy 80s horror prop. Wait, I have an idea. Oh man, that's genius!
What kind of butthead would even take this thing seriously? Maybe we can stick this in Rowan's backpack. That's where his kid would panic.
Guys?
So I just thought you guys should know that you're screwed.
What? Spit it out! Behind you!
There, in the corner of the cell, a digital camera comes flickering to life, and a video has played back on the screen. It was hard to even consider paying any attention to it when my life is on the line. But when the ghost doesn't move and the teenagers' mocking shouts of help me filled the cell, I just had to watch. And what I had seen, students judging by their St. Goretti's uniforms, they were holding
That letter!
And that thing, the woman, she... See, look, there's two ghosts. Luke, you missed it. She morphed into Charlotte.
I thought that was Marianne. Oh, the other one, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, I need